business kings and queens. Welcome to another episode of Customer Experience 101. Last week, we explored the customer journey using my Airbnb experience in Ghana. Then we created a simple customer journey map, highlighting the stages, touch points, pain points, emotions, and of course, the improvement tactics. If you've missed it, check the description below. Before you can improve your customer journey, you need to understand what currently exists. And this essentially means, what do customers actually think about your product or service? The best way to know this is simple: ask them. Today, we are creating the simple customer satisfaction survey to collect insights across key touchpoints in your customer journey. And yes, simple is the keyword. Let's head into the Customer Experience Lab. Today, we'll be using Google Forms to design a simple, basic, but effective survey. See you. Welcome to the CX Lab. So we are about to design our customer satisfaction survey on Google Forms. As you can see, the form has been pre-populated with most of the questions because I don't want to waste your time. Now, with every customer satisfaction survey, you'd want to create some introduction. And here it's, hello guests, it was a pleasure hosting you. It is important that I understand how satisfied you were with the service. And it's good to let your audience or your target audience know how long it would take them to complete the survey. And here it says this survey should take less than 5 minutes of your time. Now, the beauty of having an apartment on Airbnb is that as far as customer satisfaction is concerned, it has done, say, 50% of the job, and that also helps your customer journey map, right? Now, Airbnb allows the guests to rate the host and the host to rate the guests. They use a 5-star rating, and then they provide reviews for each party. So that's good, and that insight would be useful later on. However, because you are taking on a more structured approach, saying that you want to understand your customers' experience across the key touch points that make up their journey, from awareness, which is finding out about the apartment, to how they interacted with your profile page, how they interacted with you, how they interacted with the accommodation. So without much ado, let's get to it. So the very first question here is, how easy was it for you to find my apartment on Airbnb? So our options would be 1, very easy. 2 would be easy. It's usually good to always have a scale of 5 so you can feel the pulse of how excited they are or how disappointed they are, as the case may be. So 3 would be neutral. 4 would be difficult. And then 5 would be very difficult. So with this question, you should be able to identify your customer's pulse as far as finding the apartment was on Airbnb. The second touch point here that has to do with the deliberation stage, when the person is asking, do I want to go with this guy or not? And the question here is, how satisfied were you with my profile page? Now, you ask these questions because you want to know if the person has all the information that they need. Was it easy to reach you and things along those lines? So you would say, start with very satisfied. Now this is a CSAT question, a 5 scale CSAT question. Second one would be satisfied. Third would be neutral. It would be dissatisfied. Oh dear. Wrong spelling. Dissatisfied. Yeah. And the 5th one would be very dissatisfied. There's something I would still talk about, but let's just populate the options for each of our questions. Now, the next one would be engaging the host, right? The host is a key touch point in your customer journey. Now, the question you'd be asking here is, how satisfied were you with my responses to your inquiries? And we do the same thing, very satisfied, satisfied, neutral. I hope you guys are listening. Hope you're patient, satisfied, then very dissatisfied. Awesome. And then we go to the final question here, which has to do with the stage of using the actual accommodation or apartment. Now, this is also a key touch point. What's the point of an Airbnb space if the apartment doesn't exist, right? So, how satisfied were you with the apartment, or should we say my apartment? And be creative with this, guys. Very satisfied, neutral, dissatisfied, and very dissatisfied. Now we have 4 questions, right? One essentially looks at the effort it takes to find your apartment, and then the other 3 looks at the actual satisfaction of the customers for the key parts of the customer journey, stages as the case may be. Now, with every CSAT question, it's important for you to understand the rationale behind that rating. So in this case, we would include an additional question for the profile page, an additional question for satisfaction with the responses, and an additional question for satisfaction with the apartment. And anyone guess what that question would be? That would give you additional insights. I will let you know. So that question essentially won't be a multiple choice question. It would be a paragraph question, right? And then what you're asking is, please tell me why you chose that option. The option, of course, has to do with what you have in your previous question. So if someone says, I was dissatisfied, please tell me why you chose that option. Do you understand now? And then you allow the customer to provide a long text. Now, the ideal thing is the customer would tell you what makes the customer happy if they're satisfied, what makes the customer unhappy if they are very dissatisfied. And with that information, you can begin to understand the root cause of your pain points, right? And with that information too, you can begin to ask yourself, how do I correct this particular issue? So we'll duplicate this as well for the other guys. Let's just duplicate, make the job the same. So I've done this, duplicate question, and drag this to the next one. Then we'll duplicate this again. And then we can drag this to the last place. Hold on, let's do this above it instead. Great. Now we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 questions. Now, rule of thumb is you shouldn't have a lot of questions in your customer satisfaction survey. The more your questions are, the least likely people would complete, the survey, or the higher the chances are higher, rather, that people would just put whatever it is they want to put there. So that is what we need to do. So with this satisfaction survey and the questions we have here, we've been able to identify, we should be able to identify 1 touch point, which is awareness.
at that stage of finding your apartment. 2, find out the satisfaction quotient for how they interacted with your profile page. Find out how satisfied they are with the conversations they had with you. And then finally, find out how satisfied they were with the actual apartment. Hopefully, once you've collected your responses, you will be able to analyze that data, make sense of that data, and then plug your insights into your customer journey map. Now, hi guys, I need to point this out. Your customer satisfaction survey can be a lot different from this, and there are a number of ways you can decide to do it. But more often than not, when you want to design a customer satisfaction survey, you have an objective, ahead of you, and it is based on that objective that you design your questions. So this is not 100% perfect, but this is a good way for you to start. So thank you very much for your time. Now let's jump in back to the rest of this podcast.
And that's it, a quick, simple customer satisfaction survey. Once you master this, you can begin to explore more advanced question styles and tools. Next episode, we'll learn how to analyze the data we've collected today. If you enjoyed this episode, hit like, leave a comment, and subscribe. See you next week. Wishing your business the very best.